Nobody sits a person down and warns them about this. Not the doctor at the yearly checkup, not the kind nurse who takes your blood pressure, not even your own children, because most of them have no idea it's happening. And yet, for millions of people who live alone after a certain age, this quiet thing arrives slowly, almost politely, and it can take away more than a fall ever could. So before you do anything else today, let me tell you what it is, and exactly what you can do about it. Because once you see it, you can never be caught off guard by it again. Here is the truth that nobody says out loud. When you live alone, the real danger is almost never the dramatic emergency everyone pictures. It is not the burglar at the window. It is not the single terrible fall in the night. Those things get all the attention, all the worried phone calls, all the warnings. But the thing that actually changes a life, the thing that creeps in unnoticed, is far quieter than that. It is the slow shrinking of a world, and it happens so gradually that by the time anyone notices, a great deal has already been lost. Think about how a day used to look. There were reasons to get up, someone to make breakfast for, a job to go to, errands that mattered, a phone that rang. The day had edges and a shape. But when you live alone, nothing forces those edges anymore. No one notices if you skip a meal. No one notices if you wear the same clothes for 3 days, or if you stop going outside, or if the only voice you hear all week is the one coming from the television. And here is the part nobody warns you about. The mind and the body both follow the shape of the day. When the day loses its shape, slowly, quietly, so do you. Researchers have a cold-sounding name for it. They call it the loss of routine and structure, and they have found that for an older adult living alone, it can be as damaging to health as a serious medical condition. When meals become irregular, the body weakens. When movement disappears, muscles fade faster than most people realize, sometimes in a matter of weeks. When there is no reason to speak to another human being, the mind grows quieter too, and not in a peaceful way. This is the thing nobody warns you about. Not because it is a secret, but because it is invisible. It does not announce itself. It simply arrives. But I did not come here to frighten you. I came here to hand you something far more useful, which is the knowledge of exactly how to push back. Because every single piece of this can be slowed, stopped, and in many cases reversed. And it does not require money, or a caregiver, or moving out of the home you love. It requires only that you understand what is happening, and that you do a few small, deliberate things on purpose. So let me give them to you, one by one. The first is the most important, and it is also the simplest. Give your day an anchor, one fixed point that does not move. It could be a walk to the end of the street at the same time every morning. It could be a phone call you make, not one you wait to receive. It could be tending a plant on the windowsill or sitting on the porch with a cup of tea as the sun comes up. The activity itself barely matters. What matters is that it is the same, and that it is yours, and that it happens whether you feel like it or not. One reliable anchor in the morning will pull the rest of the day into a shape behind it. This is not a small tip. This is the foundation everything else is built on. The second thing nobody warns you about is how easily the world stops checking on you and how rarely it is anyone's fault. Your children are busy. Your friends assume you would call if something were wrong. The neighbors wave but never knock, and so the days can stretch on with no one truly laying eyes on you. The answer is not to wait and hope. The answer is to build what I call a check-in chain. Pick one person, just one, and make a standing agreement. You will send them a single message every morning, even just the word good morning, so they know you are well, and you will ask them to notice, and to act, if that message ever does not come. This costs nothing. It takes 10 seconds a day, and it has quietly saved more lives than any alarm system ever sold. The third thing is your voice, and I mean that almost literally. When a person goes days without real conversation, something strange begins to happen. Speaking starts to feel like effort. Words come slower. The confidence to pick up the phone and call somebody starts to drain away, and the quieter you become, the harder it gets to break the silence. So you must use your voice on purpose, the way you would exercise a muscle that you do not want to lose. Read aloud to yourself if there is no one else there. Talk to the radio. Call a helpline that exists for exactly this reason, with kind people on the other end who are glad to listen. There is no shame in any of it. The shame would be in letting the silence win. The fourth thing nobody warns you about is the way decisions slowly slip out of your hands. It often begins with love. A worried son takes over the finances to make things easier. A daughter starts ordering the groceries, choosing the appointments, answering for you when the doctor asks a question. Each act is kind. But pile enough of them together, and one day you realize that you are no longer the one steering your own life, and that you handed the wheel over so gently you never noticed it leave your hands. So hold on to your decisions. Stay involved in your own money, even if someone helps you with it. Speak for yourself at your own appointments. Keep doing the things you can still do, even when it would be faster to let someone else. Independence is not only about living alone. It is about remaining the author of your own days. The fifth thing is the body, and this one is urgent in a way most people do not understand. After a certain age, muscle does not wait around. When a person becomes less active, strength can fade remarkably quickly, and weakness is what turns an ordinary stumble into a serious fall, and a serious fall into the event that ends independence altogether. But the reverse is also true, and it is wonderful news. The body responds at any age. You do not need a gym. You need to stand up and sit down from a sturdy chair a few times a day. You need to rise onto your toes while holding the kitchen counter. You need to walk, even just around the rooms of your own home, every single day. These tiny movements, done faithfully, are quite literally what keeps you on your feet and in your home. Now, there is a sixth thing, and it is the one I most want you to hear, because it is the one that ties all the others together. Loneliness is not a feeling to be ashamed of. It is a signal, the same way hunger is a signal, or thirst, or pain. It is your own self telling you that something important is missing and needs to be tended to. Too many people of your generation were taught to swallow it, to not be a burden, to manage on their own and never complain. But ignoring that signal does real harm to the body and the mind. So when you feel it, do not scold yourself. Answer it. Reach toward another person. Join the group at the library, the service at the church, the class at the community center. Say yes to the invitation, even when the easier thing would be to stay home. Connection is not a luxury at this stage of life. It is medicine, and it works. Let me gather all of this together for you simply so it stays with you after this video ends. The danger of living alone is rarely the loud thing. It is the quiet erosion of routine, of contact, of voice, of choice, of strength, and of connection. And every one of those can be defended. Anchor your day with one fixed habit. Build a check-in chain with one trusted person. Use your voice on purpose. Hold on to your own decisions. Move your body every single day, even in the smallest ways, and treat your loneliness as a signal to answer, never a weakness to hide. 6 things. None of them cost a penny. All of them are within your reach starting today. If you are watching this not for yourself but for a mother, a father, a neighbor, or an old friend who lives alone, then you have already done the kindest thing, which is to notice. Do not wait for a crisis to act. Call them tonight. Set up that check-in. Ask them, really ask them, how their days are shaped, and listen to the answer. The people who live alone are so often the ones who insist they are fine, and the ones who need us to look a little closer. And if you are the one living alone, I want to leave you with this. You are not fragile. You are not finished. The years you have lived gave you a strength that no younger person can imagine. And living alone is not the end of a meaningful life. It is simply a chapter that asks you to be a little more deliberate, a little more intentional, about the things that used to happen on their own. You can do that. You have done harder things. Build your anchor tomorrow morning. Make your one phone call. Stand up from your chair 10 times before lunch. Small, steady, on purpose. That is how a person living alone does not merely survive, but stays strong, stays sharp, and stays the author of a life that is still very much their own. If something here spoke to you, take just one of these 6 things and begin it today, not someday. And if you know someone who lives alone, send this to them, because the warning nobody gives is the one that matters most. Take care of yourself. You are worth taking care of, and I will see you in the next one.